Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the DirtInfo podcast. We've had a number of new people check us out recently, and we'd love to have you hang out with us some more. So if you could do us a favor and hit like and subscribe down there, or over there, wherever you're seeing this, it'd be much appreciated.
And with that, we'll jump into Stylin Profilin. And I got a guy from your neck of the woods, Josh Zimple, and I learned about this shirt from you, because obviously I don't follow too close attention to the Wasota merch game. But this one, when you sent this to me, that was I had to get that right away. He's got like the neon stuff going on, and his wrap is sweet already. So yeah, as soon as I was informed that he had shirts, I was buying that online right away.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I remember sending it right over as soon as I saw it. I was kind of watching like a hawk because he ran that wrap for like a whole year before he got the shirts and stuff. And my youngest Colton for the whole year was just like, I can't believe he doesn't have any merch. And Colton's number 5 in all his sports too, so it's like a double home run because Zimple's 5 as well. And so he's just like, I can't believe it. So as soon as it came out, I knew I was getting some, and I knew I knew you had mentioned it too, so I sent it right over. So heck yeah, we have a whole bunch of those around here. But and an interesting and not planned twist, but I'm wearing someone from your neck of the woods. So this is I picked this up not this past weekend, but the weekend before at the Modified World Championships. It's a Cole Sarneski shirt, and so it's got the stock car and the mod on the back.
Yep.
And it's only my second piece of merchandise with a stock car on it. I only have 2. And they both come from your side of Wisconsin. Actually. The first and now the Cole shirt. So
Oh, sorry, you cut out there. But yes, yeah, it is funny that we managed to accidentally wear not rival. I don't know what the word is, but merge from different side of yes.
contrasting, yeah. Yeah.
And
Something
and
you'd expect from each other of us to be wearing, but
and the other shirt you have the stalker on is Benji's shirt, right?
yeah.
And a stalker and a mod, yeah.
Yep. That's the only other one with and so it's kind of funny they're both from your side of Wisconsin. You actually sent me that Benji one.
I did, yes. Um,
Yeah.
with that, I guess we'll jump into what I did. So I went racing this weekend. You went baseballing, right?
Yeah, I'll touch on that in a minute, but you did the fun stuff, so let's start with you. I think
Uh,
it started with High Limit, didn't it?
Yep, on Thursday. I was supposed to start
Yeah.
on Tuesday, and we talked about last week. It was Monday. We recorded last Monday, and high limit was supposed to be at 141 on Tuesday. And I said it wasn't looking good, and they ended up raining out. But I wanted them to hopefully move it to Thursday, and that's exactly what happened, thankfully. Um,
Yeah. That
and
random comment on Facebook was correct.
oh, was there a comment on there?
That's what
Oh,
you said
yes,
last
yes,
episode.
yes. I did see a random comment on Facebook saying that was a rumor going around. But yeah, thankfully that's what happened. And Baylog showed up too, because the Outlaws were in Minnesota on Wednesday, and he showed up, so that was a nice addition. But unfortunately, all those top guys showed up, and then they lost to a local, Travis Arenz, which was pretty cool to see. Because I remember him when he was in the Sport Mod. He was in a 4-cylinder before that, but I don't remember him in that. I was too young, I guess. But Sport Mods, I remember him in, and he was dominating at 141 in the Sport Mod. He's a track champion, which I know he said in his interview. And he said in his interview too after he won, he said, "I was just riding the bottom like I used to do in my sport mod," and that's what he did at 141. So that was I remember talking. I was talking to Racing Vagabond because he was there um, earlier, like before the feature when they were doing track prep, and I said it'd be cool if Baylog won, but I said I don't think it'll happen, but if Travis Aarons won, this place would explode, and then it happened. It was because I remember it was like a restart, and all of a sudden he was just there, like he was running like fifth-ish, and all of a sudden he got like went from like fifth to third on a restart, and all of a sudden he was in the lead.
Yeah,
Um,
I get like you watch enough of those races and you're like the local guy like usually will end up fading, and he just
yeah,
felt like he was getting faster and
getting
faster,
faster.
and everyone else was fading, and I was like, dang, dude's gonna put it away. So that was pretty cool. Um, so I guess like a little bit of a quick comment. You had mentioned he raced sport compacts at 141, and we had mentioned last week, and I just want to quickly mention again, like the Bang Bang 50s going down at 141. It feels like a former sports compact driver wins. How much was it? 30.
26,000.
26,000. He wins 26,000. We should mention the sport or the sport compact special at 141. So it's a driver promoted deal by Justin Finland and I believe Kendall Finland, who probably a spouse or something. I apologize, I don't know
Yeah.
that, but yeah. So they put it on. It's 500 to win 25 lap feature at 141 on July 26th. So, and it's all, he raises all of the purse, any of the entry fees go back into the purse and then into the purse. And then he also like takes donations and stuff too. So like y'all hit him up. That's pretty cool. Let's see if we can help him make this the biggest one yet. So yeah, it felt like a really good segue. We mentioned it last week at the end. I figured maybe let's mention it again at the beginning of this episode. So, but yeah, speaking of Travis Arenz winning, I tried to get you to start a chant
No,
while
you
you
did?
were there. Yeah, in the Discord server, I was trying to get you to start a chant because the place went nuts, and I was watching right along with you. You must not have seen it when
I
I
don't think
said
I
it,
saw.
but you were bouncing in and out, so I was trying to get you to start a chant.
I don't think that would have happened. So even if I did see it,
If you just started it, people would have jumped in. But that
there
was
there
cool.
was there was a chant that did start telling him to go in the pond though. That did start.
Okay,
So
and he listened. He abided.
he did listen. Yes, yeah, that is a tradition there. I know Earl Pearson Jr. went in the pond when he won the Lucas Oil Late Model Show, like 2018 or whatever. And then whenever there's like, if a guy wins for the first time, a lot of times they go in the pond, or
Huh?
like when they win the Clash, which we'll be talking about later, and the other big shows, they always go in the pond. So
Nice. Yeah, the victory lane photo was kind of cool of him like soaking wet, and then the second and third completely dry. So that's just such a huge win. That was a really cool thing to watch. I was watching. I was like, man, I'm jealous of Carter that he's there because like in the moment it was way cooler than on TV, and on TV it was pretty dang cool. So
the funny thing is, the first time I went to, so that was the first high limit show I went to, and the first outlaw show I went to in 2016 at Beaver Dam, Bill Baylog won, which
Mhm.
at the time was an upset. Now it wouldn't be nearly as much as it won't really. I don't think it'd be an upset at all if he won at
Not
Beaver
at
Dam.
all.
But in 2016, he was still an IRA guy. He was a top IRA guy, but he was still an IRA guy. So I feel like when I first time at a national sprint car series show, they see an upset seems to happen. We need more. We're gonna have to, if there's a new series that shows up, I'll have to go to it, and we might have
Yeah,
another upset.
yeah.
Um, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if it's an upset, but the next night you went to
Plymouth.
another to Plymouth and
That
and
was the
not
Outlaws that time.
yep, and not necessarily an upset or anything like that, but a outlaw guy won, so kind
Yeah,
of a
at Plymouth, Rico won,
yeah.
which he won 2 years ago. They had the All Stars, and it was the Race Rudine Foundation race, which was that
Mhm.
was what was that 141, and Rico won that. So I mean, he's pretty good around there. But yeah,
Yeah,
Rico won at Plymouth, and Larson had a. I don't know if you saw the video. Larson had a huge wreck
I
in the
didn't.
feature.
Not
He was running second. He started on the pole, but Abreu would get by him on the restart, and then Larson was just kind of like following him in second, and then I guess his axle broke going into the corner. So he just went flipping, I mean,
zooming,
straight
yeah.
into the fence. Good thing there was a fence there because he would have been flipping for quite some time if there was no fence there, I think.
Dang.
Um, but but yeah, that was unfortunate because I think him and Rico would have been battling probably all, I think it was 35 laps. But
Yeah.
the race at Plymouth is awesome. I think it's the best 410 track, and at least by me. It's
Okay.
awesome there with 410s. It builds a huge cushion every time right up to the wall. Um, and yeah, I think the race was awesome too. And even though with Larson wrecking, which I was worried might kind of ruin the race, once
Mhm.
they got going, they had a few. They kept going, getting like 5 laps in, getting the traffic, and then caution. And obviously with sprint cars, traffic kind of makes the race a lot of the times. But once they finally got that longer run, Buddy Kofoid was like right behind Rico, and with like I think coming to two to go. but he threw a huge slider in 3 and 4, but wasn't going to make it, and then he clipped like the back end of Rico, and Rico was like almost sideways on the front stretch, it looked like, but he saved it, and Rico held on to win.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool to see, and Rico is loved in Wisconsin. I mean, I think he's loved anywhere, but the place went wild when Rico won. They don't like Larson as much though, which shocked me. I thought because Larson doesn't come out this way that much, so I figured they'd all be fans of him. It's not like Knoxville or something where they see him all the time, but he was getting booed and like qualified and stuff, which was shocking to me. Um,
Well, well, I mean, I saw some stuff on some comparisons, saying Wisconsin sprint car fans are you know uh, I almost feel weird repeating, but as good or better than the posse fans and stuff like that. Like I saw some drivers, some fans, some people saying that out loud, and what I saw, man, y'all delivered. You showed up in numbers. It was
oh
loud.
yeah,
It was, yeah, it
Plymouth
was,
Plymouth was sold out completely. Like they stopped
yeah.
selling tickets and pit passes. They were that sold out. Uh,
Dang.
yeah. So that was unfortunately because of that, leaving the place was not fun. I was in the parking lot for 45 minutes, and for over 20 of those minutes, I didn't see a single car move, which I don't know what was going on. Like if
Hmm.
everyone was moving, but it was just slowly, like I wouldn't have really been annoyed, but it was like nobody's moved. I couldn't even back out of my parking spot because there was people behind me trying to like get out. So I was just kind of stuck there, just hanging out. Uh, but finally, and then all of a sudden, once they started moving, it's like they were moving. Like once I actually got out of my parking spot, I was out of there in 5 minutes. So I don't know what was causing us to be at a complete standstill for over 20 minutes, but
Priority parking lot somewhere else was getting out before you, bud.
apparently, yeah,
but it's rare you get stuck in traffic at a dirt track, but it's happened to me too. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's always
yeah,
those big events. I mean, I was expecting traffic. I was kind of hoping
yeah.
they'd run the support class, which was the 360s last. I'm fine with support class. I would have stayed for it, which would have been good because a ton of people would have left
A
after the
bunch of
410
people would have
feature.
left.
So I
Yep.
probably would have had no issues getting out of there. Um, then yeah, after that, the Outlaws went to Beaver Dam. I did not go to Beaver Dam on that would have been Saturday. I
Saturday.
went
Yeah.
I went to ABC Raceway, which is the complete opposite way. That's all the way at the top part of Wisconsin for the high roller sprint cars. No association with the high limit sprint cars. Um, that
But a
has
good
been a
name
it
nonetheless.
has been a running joke on Twitter though, when people found out that the high roller sprint cars were a thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
when I got there, I posted on Twitter, for some reason Kyle Larson isn't here. Um, but anyways,
Yeah.
I got there and there was like a slight chance for rain. I had to go there anyways because I was streaming it. But Ryan came along, and then he could Ryan could have stayed back in 141, just went there. Weather was perfect there, but he went with me to ABC Raceway because it's a new track for him, and he wanted
Mhm.
to see it. And then we get there, and I'm setting my stuff up, and all of a sudden it starts sprinkling a little bit, and like there was some light rain for like 20 minutes, and it's like okay, that's not going to do anything. And all of a sudden a little bit harder rain came like 10 minutes later, um, which postponed it. I think they were supposed to start at 7. They started at 8:41 because of the rain. Um, but they got the track worked in, and they don't have a curfew up there. I'm fairly certain because it was like after midnight when they got done. I don't. It seems like that with soda tracks, most of them don't have a curfew. I know Red Cedar does,
Usually
but
not.
outside of that, most of them don't seem to have one. Um, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. In this case, it
Yeah.
was a good thing though, because yeah, the racing was some big cushion built up, um, especially in three and
Sure and
four.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it was like right up against the wall in 3 and 4. And the non-wing feature, so the high rollers have non-wings and wing cars. And
Okay.
I learned, so I guess the non-wings have an open engine rule. So there's like 305s and then 410s, which I thought was kind of wild. Very interesting. I mean, I guess I think a few of them were 410s. I couldn't tell you. Probably the guy who won by a mile, it felt like. But um, you've probably seen him. He's the Joker car, Chris Lewis. He's got like the Joker wrap. Have you ever seen? He goes to Cedar Lake a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen his car, but I posted a
Cedar
picture.
Lake in a while where they ran those.
Yeah, I posted a picture on the DirtInfo page, I'm pretty sure. He's got a really cool wrap though on his car. But he won that, and then Chase V. Brock won the wing sprint car feature.
Okay.
But Owen Carlson was actually leading that, and then with I think round 5 to go, he jumped the cushion all by himself in 3 and 4, and ended up over the wall there. And but they have like the wall, and then there's a little gap, and then the fence, and he ended up in between there, like wedged in there. And they had to
Hmm.
use like they had to take his wing off. They had to use 2 tow trucks to get the car out. He was all okay though. He was fine. But it was a wild crash. I only caught half of it though, so that was unfortunate. Um,
No.
and then what else went on there? I think that was pretty much all. Brandon Kopp was there. That was kind of cool to see him because I know he's a,
Nice.
but he didn't
Yeah,
run
I think
that
he
good.
races there weekly.
Yeah, think he's from that area. I think he finished like 11th or something. I saw their post on Facebook. They said the track was like exactly how Brandon wants it, but just couldn't get by anyone. But yeah, the racing there was good. I'm looking forward to going back there later on in this year. I found
Yeah, I'm
out.
kind of jealous. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's what is the Red Clay Classic, right?
Yep, and the
Yeah,
payout's like super high this year. It's like
huge. Yeah,
15,000 for late models, 10,000 for mods.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was cool. That was the first time I've been there since 2017, so it was cool to go back. The one thing I noticed is they have the big sign behind the grandstands that says ABC Raceway, and I have a picture on my phone from when I went there in 2017, and it's a lot more faded now. Since I was there, I thought that was kind of funny.
yeah. Well, it's
And
a good
then
thing. That means they're racing it off.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And then Sunday was supposed to be at Luxembourg for the prelude to the Clash, and once you know it, it rained. Of
yeah.
course, Friday when the one week they have Friday off, run Sunday. Friday's fine, rain
Gorgeous.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
uh, that's
bummer, man.
two out of 2 out of 8. I think they got in now, or some.
Oof.
Yeah, I think it's two. They got 2 shows out of 8. So, and
Oh, that's tough.
it's we'll probably get to it later, but it's not looking good again for this Friday. It's 2 inches of rain on Friday coming up. So.
Ah, fantastic. Well, I God, I'm just they can't catch a break. They
No.
cannot catch a break. They switch up days and it doesn't matter. It's the rain follows them. That's
At
such
this
a
point,
bummer,
they
man.
need to schedule every single day of the week and
Yep.
just or whenever
Yep.
other tracks are off and just run, whatever.
If it's nice out, we're running.
We're running on Monday this week,
Yeah.
guys. There's no rain on Monday.
Yeah, forecast looks great. Yeah. So, well, I didn't go racing, but I did go watch my youngest Colton, play baseball up in Duluth a little bit, and so that was pretty fun. Uh, I do want to kind of, I guess our buddies, the Dirt Tracks and Rib Racks podcast will kind of get a kick out of this, but
I heard him
um,
too.
heck yeah. Yeah, they'll be in the mail soon, I promise. Carter can attest I'm terrible at mail. But we'll get some of ours headed their way for sure. But on on well, yes, or on Sunday, I decided to try these party ribs. I don't know if you watch Food Talk or whatever platform you're on. If you scroll the food section, I've seen them a few times. But basically, you just take the ribs and pre-cut them, and then you just smoke them like that, and then you cover them in ooey gooey goodness sauce after a while, and just let them kind of get sticky in there. Oh my man, those are fantastic. Sherry says those are a must add, so those will be coming back. And then I perfected the smoked meatloaf a little
I was gonna
bit.
say I saw you made meatloaf because
Yeah.
I love meatloaf, but nobody else at my house likes it, so it doesn't get made very often.
Oh, I love meatloaf. We smoke it in the summer when we make it in the oven in the winter, but meatloaf is a staple around here. It's one of my favorites. Um, so yeah, my dad kind of got me on this thing. So I'm gonna rant for just a second, like a little bit of a family history thing. But like my dad loves meatloaf, but he loves one kind of meatloaf, and that's my grandma's meatloaf. And I can agree, my grandma's meatloaf is goated. It's the best meatloaf, but none of us can recreate it. We have the recipe, we can't do it. It just doesn't work. So I've just gone on the adventure of finding the best meatloaf I like and can make, and I've kind of started to really nail down this recipe. So, so yeah, I love meatloaf. Well, when you come out here, it sounds like you might be coming my way once or twice this year. And when you do, maybe I'll make sure you have a meatloaf.
Um, Real quick, while we're talking about food, I want to mention at Plymouth, I tried the steak sandwich for the first time, and I've heard about it multiple times, and I've just never had it. And then Racing Vagabond, who I know through Twitter. You know him too. He's from your area, but he came out my way for the whole week. He said he tried and it was really good, and I was like, whatever. I was there early. I'll give it a try. It was really good. It's pricey. It's like 15 bucks. I got the double one, but it's like 15 bucks, but it was totally worth it. I kind of wish I didn't try it because I'm there so often. I might be spending 15 bucks quite often on that thing. But yeah,
Whoa.
it comes with, well, you can get like fried onions or whatever, and then I think they put a ton of butter on it, and then you can pick between, I assume, like cheddar cheese, or I don't know, whatever cheese they put on it, or pepper jack cheese, and I did the pepper jack. So, but yeah, it was fantastic. If you ever end up at Plymouth, Josh, I recommend trying it. So
If I end up there, it'll be with you, and I'll definitely make sure I get one. But yeah, I was a little surprised when you're saying that, to say it was the first time you tried it, because I'm like, you're there almost every week.
yeah,
Well, how have you not? But
I'd always just I always get the chicken strips and the mac and cheese when I'm there every time.
okay.
But
So, well, those must be good too then. So
they
like
are.
they're doing something right at Plymouth.
Everything I've had there is super good. They got, honestly, they might have the best food, at least for the dirt tracks in this area. So
Honestly, honestly, that's a huge, for me, that's like a big part of like how much I like a track is how good are their concessions, for real. Like if you try hard at your concessions and it shows, like I'm gonna be a bigger fan of your racetrack. That is 100% fact. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I just watched a bunch of racing. The thing I followed most closely was the Dream. And I think you caught the one show I didn't, and I caught the ones you didn't. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth. But starting with Flow, the Flow Night in America on Wednesday, I believe it was. You caught that, so you can tell us who won and kind of what your thoughts of it.
yeah, it was pretty much just Bobby Pierce doing Bobby Pierce things. I think Hudson led for a bit, and then Pierce got by, and after that, that was
It
pretty much
was
all
just
she
lights
wrote.
out.
Yeah, I mean, Hudson was keeping up, like he was like, I mean, keeping up kind of. He was like 2 seconds back, but like it felt like the rest of the field. Like I thought, if it was 100 laps, I felt like Pierce was going to lap everybody. Besides maybe like Hudson and a couple other guys, but he was, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. It was Pierce just absolutely checked out. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
a win with the throwback wrap. So
Yeah, yeah, he definitely did it. He did it justice. And then I think the Thursday feature ran after the Friday feature on Friday, if I'm remembering that correctly. But
yeah,
so yep. So the technically the first but second feature. Anyway, Josh Rice won Thursday, which I thought was pretty cool. It kind of kept with the theme with Arenz on Thursday, and then Rice did it on Friday. It kind of felt like to me, I was getting the makings that maybe something big was going to happen at the Dream, because it kind of felt like miracles were happening this weekend. So I was kind of getting excited, but yeah, Josh Rice definitely ran a really good race. He kind of ran away with it too.
and
Um,
the prelim features were 30 grand to win too.
yeah, they were
So he
big
won.
money.
Yeah, he won. I think
Yeah,
that was his biggest win ever, and it was a prelim feature. I mean,
yeah,
for a lot of people, winning that Eldora would be like a massive win. 30 grand, and
yeah,
with the field that's there,
yeah.
even with it being split, it's still like a humongous field. So
It was some close to 50 cars, I think, each night.
yeah,
So yeah, they got pretty dang close to 100. So yeah, and then the Friday feature was kind
Davenport,
of, it
right?
was Davenport. Yeah, yeah, and even that had a little bit of underdog vibe. My big takeaway from that was watching Timmy Colt cut it up with everybody. He led laps. He's throwing sliders and just cutting up with the top five. I think he ended up coming home fifth in that one too. So, uh, yeah. So that was what I remembered most. I was getting the most jacked about watching Timmy Cole.
So I did turn it on Friday in between. It was after like qualifying at Plymouth. I just turned it on my phone, and it was during that feature. And one thing I remember when I turned it on is it looked like I was watching the dome, because like Ethan Dotson had half the nose missing.
Yeah.
Guys, like the whole quarter panel was smashed off. Spoilers. It literally looked like I was watching like a heat race at the dome, at
Uh,
like the end of a heat race, and everyone's body panels are smashed off.
There were a lot of cautions in that one. That was the other part of that one. But yeah, I mean Davenport just drove away with that. Like I think once he got to the lead, he was never really challenged. If I'm misremembering that, that's possible because I was more jacked about Timmy Culp, to be honest with you. But anyway,
Oh, didn't RTJ like throw a slider at him once or twice in that race?
yeah, I think he did, and then there was a caution, and then he got stuck on the outside on like the
Okay.
next restart, and then like fell back, and then had to drive
Yeah,
forward. Yeah,
I caught parts of that during like little breaks at
yeah,
Plymouth, so
yeah. That
I
is
do
a bit of a
remember that.
reminder. Yeah, anyone who ended up starting on the outside would like immediately fall back 4 spots. So like if you were in second, and there's a caution. It was kind of a bummer. That's what I do remember about that, because like you just couldn't get the same run that the first couple rows, and then it's just mayhem at that point. Eldora restarts.
Yeah.
But um, and then on Saturday was much the same. Davenport started deeper in the field, but it didn't take him long to get to the start or to the front, and then he just drove away. He drove away. I mean, he
Yeah.
absolutely just drove away.
I tried to watch that one at ABC during the rain delay, but the connection there not great. So
Okay.
I
All
did see
right.
the live timing. He won by like 10 seconds, so that was what I did see.
Yeah, yeah. I was listening in. I was doing other things while doing that, and yeah. He once he got to the lead, it was kind of over. There was some cool stuff in the back. We did the picks. You got Thursday right. I think neither of us got Thursday, or no, you got Wednesday right. None of us got Thursday right. Anyway, but my point was going to say, we kind of like picked a little bit wild cards, not Bobby or JD for the big feature, and you picked Moran and I picked Hoffman, and at separate points in that race, those dudes were just plowing forward. I mean, Moran started deep, like 24th or something, and I think finished fifth and 1 point, was at second or third. And then Hoffman got up into the top five, pitted, and then came all the way back up and
Because
finished third.
Hoffman was a lap down at one point, but they do like
Yeah.
the lucky dog thing or something there,
Yep.
from what I've seen. And then yeah, he drove it all the way up to third, I guess. Because I watched this interview after, and I guess he was saying so last year, I guess he knocked the spoiler off like in like at the half somewhere like halfway through, and he
Mm-hmm.
was telling himself, okay, as long as I don't do it this time, I have a shot. And then he said, I did it in the first 10 laps. I knocked the spoiler off. So he said, then he went and pitted, got it. He said the crew got it somewhat fixed where it actually like does something at this point. And he said once that was fixed, he felt like he could kind of go anywhere on the track and get by guys. So drove it all the way up to third.
Yeah, that is one unique feature that I'm still unsure I like about those longer Eldora races. It has this tiny bit of NASCAR pit stop vibe to it. Lots of guys go in for small or big repairs. Bobby replaced both of his rear tires at like the halfway point and drove all the way up to second. And it's just like I don't know how exactly I feel about that. It was good racing. It was cool to watch him cut through the field, but like Davenport never did anything but dominate. So if like on a late restart that goes the other way, you'd feel some kind of way, I think, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Sometimes though it's also interesting like when like the last like 10 laps and all of a sudden guys are like getting flats and then it's like, oh, I this guy, say Tim McCready, he pitted on lap 85. He was in 20th, like, and all of a sudden all these guys get flats, and all of a sudden he's running fifth on fresh tires, and everyone else has old tires. Like, there's sometimes it's like, oh, this could be interesting, but yeah, it is kind of, I don't know. I guess it's better than a halfway break, like you saw.
I would agree with that, and I do think it's infinitely better than losing all of those cars, right? And then you
Yeah,
finish with, because we've seen Eldoras where the track's pretty rough, and you finish with like 12 cars on them.
yeah.
That's worse than whatever this was. So I don't know that I have a strong feeling. I just know that when I kind of looked at the results and saw a couple guys that pitted finish on the podium and stuff like that, I was like, I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I still don't know how I feel about that, but it has pluses and minuses. So yeah, say a lot of stuff to say nothing at all, I guess. but, but anyway, but yeah, so the dream was kind of neat. The other The other thing going on that I watched quite a bit of, and you didn't catch any of this, was
No.
USMTS. So I'm not gonna get too out of hand with my breakdown or analysis. But Jim Chisholm won on Friday, and Rodney Sanders won on Saturday. And really, the thing I just keep remarking at, Rodney Sanders is on a bit of a heater right now. He finished third on that Friday. He won on Saturday. He drove from the back of the field to a fourth place at the Modified World Championship. I think he clipped off a couple wins before. Anyway, the other thing though, dude, is he can put it anywhere. He can win on the bottom. He can dig deep on the bottom and get towards the front. He won on Saturday going around the top. Just Rodney Sanders on a heater. I think he's gonna be. He's just so fun to watch right now. He's just really fun to watch. Even if he's not winning, he's driving through the fields and doing cool stuff. So that was like my biggest takeaway from USMTS is just Rodney Sanders is out there putting on a show.
Did he? Did he? Or no? He ran in the top 5 on Sunday too, right?
He came home second, I
Yeah, that's what it
believe.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he came home second. Yes,
It was
yes, he did.
Jacob
Yep.
Bleeth that one. Is
Jacob
that right?
Blees won.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So also to your point, he drives like 13 and a half hours to race on Sunday at Mason City, and he led a good majority of that feature. And then Blees just kind of found a line that Rodney couldn't hit and just drove around him. But yeah. So even then, he finished second. So the mods are out here putting on a show, and Rodney Sanders is doing his darndest to make each and every race pretty neat. So, and then tip of the cap to our buddy Brad. He did a couple of write-ups on those shows, and he usually covers all the USMTS stuff over on DirtInfo.com. But he brought my attention to the points races kind of tighten up, and I'm not going to get too crazy about it, but I would say there's at least 3 guys with a chance to win right now, and it's Rodney Sanders, Jim Chisholm, and Kyle Strickler. And so that's pretty cool. And Tanner Mullins. I'd actually put Tanner Mullins, and we mentioned him a couple weeks ago. He won like 5 straight races and was like undefeated at the shows he was at with Heartland. So there's just a lot of guys running really well, and they're all. I'm fingers crossed we get the battle we didn't get last year down the stretch. Weather robbed us of Jake Tim versus Jim Chisholm. I'm hoping with 4 guys all kind of tight like that, we're gonna get a good one. Anyway, we can move on. But this season's heating up. I'm telling y'all. So, and then also you mentioned the Northern Lights modified series. Please won, but the Ironman Stock Car Series also ran kind of with them in conjunction with them a little bit. So at Rapid Speedway on Friday for 1200, Chance Hollitz won. So you put me on this guy, and now he was running in the top 5 yesterday at Mason City, which I'll point out in a minute. He won on Friday. So
I'm surprised you haven't heard of him. He runs IMCA and USRA. I don't know. He might do more USRA, I think, is where he's from, but I know he runs some IMCA stuff too. So
yeah, no, the name just really didn't ring a bell for whatever reason. But now that you've brought my attention to him, I'm seeing him run good everywhere. So either we know something or we're good luck from continue the theme from last week. But yeah, so then Justin Lunenberg won at Mason City, and that was a pretty neat race. Brandon Hare was running a diamond line. I'd mentioned him before that he tracked someone down at Webster City a few weeks back. But anyway, he's running a diamond line at Mason City this time, and he dang near clipped Justin Lunenberg at the line. It was just by a nose that he hung on. So it was a pretty neat race. So that's kind of all the results we wanted to touch all the results we wanted to touch on. As far as going, so our next segment really is like where are you going racing next week? I'll keep with the USMTS theme just real quick. I'm just going to one race, and it's at Cedar Lake for the final night of the Masters. 12,000 to win late models, 12,000 to win modifieds. That's a banger show.
do they have USRA late models this year? Do you know?
I didn't see it. I didn't look. I'll be honest. I didn't look hard enough. I hope not, but they might be. They usually are on that card.
Hey, they got some good drivers in there.
They do. They do.
I'll look for
Um.
you.
All right.
They do. They do have USRA
Okay.
late model.
And they run for a halfway good chunk of change too. I'm pretty sure that that final night as well.
Probably. I
So
assume, yeah,
yeah.
their payouts probably boosted.
Yep. But I was doing some preliminary digging on who was going to be there, and I just found a whole mess of late models. So there's going to be a ton of late models there. The USMTS is going to roll pretty deep as well. I suspect. Well, I mean, all of the US or all of the Cedar Lake mods will usually be there, and they get a fair, good car count. So guys like Colton Iverson, Caden Blazer, and stuff, I suspect will be there. And then all the USMTS regulars. I don't know. And we usually see some Wasota guys pop up over there. I've watched Shane Sabraski make the feature in Hot Carl's car before. I watched. It might have been the same feature. I'm pretty sure Clayton Wagaman won a fair bit of the early opening part of the big feature. So I hope some of my guys show up too, because I still bang the table that they can compete. So but yeah, it should be fun. Though I think Jake Tim's gonna be there in both. Didn't you mention Tim Ward in a late model?
Tim Ward had it on his schedule, yeah. So assuming that
Yeah.
hasn't changed, he's going to be there in a late model.
Okay. Yeah, there should be a really cool and interesting field for this thing.
Yeah,
I never.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what they got last year, but wouldn't be surprised if you get like 50 plus late models there
I could see it. I
for
could see it.
what they're 12 grand too, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like, what is it, like 3, 5, and
3,
12,
5,
something like
12.
that? Yeah.
Yep. 3, 5, 12 for both mods and late models over the 3-day weekend. So yeah, I expect a whole bunch. So it's gonna be super fun. I've been to this event a bunch. I got rained out last year. It was the first time I missed it in a while, and I'm actually really kind of excited about it because Colton has been asking to go to Cedar Lake for a few years now, and just with the way the split weekends work and stuff with mom, it's been hard to get there, and I only go there a couple times a year. But he's with me this weekend, and we even have a baseball tournament. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna make the run after his second game on Saturday and show up right about on time and watch
No,
no
no tailgating this time.
tailgating. No, I think we'll get there somewhere between like 4:30 and 5, which I haven't looked at the schedule too hard, but I think I'm gonna be okay at that timing to make it there.
Yeah, I
So
assume they probably won't start till like 6 or something.
yeah. So I'm really excited about that. My buddy Joel's gonna come with us, I suspect, or meet us there. But that's always cool. And I was asking Colton why he wants to go back to Cedar Lake, and he's like, one, it's like one of the first tracks we ever went to, which is true. I found pictures of him and Xavier there in 2019. So like we've been going there quite a while, and he just says it's a really nice facility, which I echo his points. It's a very nice facility. And he says he can play it in Woo.
That is true on the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
I thought one of your reasons was going to be for the burrito because that is one of the reasons I like going there.
that's my reason, but that wasn't Colton's reasons. But yeah, I love going for the burrito. I mean, I love that that burrito is still in like my top 5 track foods. It's
Oh yeah,
moved down a little bit as I've traveled, but it's still probably in my top
it's
5
just
for sure.
unique too. Like you don't see that off like at most places.
That
Like
often,
which is
but
whenever it's super unique. It's if I mean some of them like the chicken gizzards down in Iowa, those are pretty unique, but those are not in my top 5. But the burrito is
yeah.
definitely in there.
Yeah. Yep. It's tough. I love the Cedar Lake green chili burrito. No qualms, no hate. Um, the one at
Granite City.
Granite City, I blanked on that for a second. Thanks for the save. Yeah, the one at Granite City is a little notch better though. But they're
You need
both
to
very good. They're both very good.
you need to get to Vado because I think they have them there too. And
Oh,
for some reason, I feel like theirs
yeah.
might be
There's
the
this.
best one.
I mean, New Mexico green chili. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the winner. One of these days, I do plan on making it down there for the Wild West Shootout. So, but yeah, So that's going to be super fun, but that's all the racing I'm doing. You probably got a whole full slate. So let's
Yeah,
get it. Let's
I
dive
got
in, man.
I got 5 races. One of them we talked about last week. The Clash at the Creek is on Tuesday and then Wednesday. The main feature's on Wednesday, so that kind of helps us for recording purposes at least.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um,
today.
um, but yeah, I was doing some research on Facebook just to see who is actually gonna be there, or at least out of state guys that were gonna be there. And there's a good amount of them that I found. I'll just read a few. Baca, Logan Anderson, Tim Ward, who we mentioned.
Yeah.
He was there, and so was Chip Gaylord and Isaac Malakote were actually all there already on Saturday. So there's 1,500 to win, so I guess they're like, screw it, why not? But then Tom
Relax.
Barry's going to be there in Mike Whittlestad's car, and then Cody Laney and Jake McBurney I also saw. And those are just the mods. I saw Taylor Cools coming into Sport Mod. Jay Schmidt, who's one of the top IMCA guys in Iowa in a stock car, he was already there on Saturday. So guys like to just like even though like there's a stock car special and a sport mod special, people like to just come early. Like there's 2 Nebraska sport mods, which I thought was kind of strange
Yeah.
that are showing up. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
don't know,
it's
maybe get
it's
practice laps maybe or something for their features, or just it's a cool track and it's a vibe. There's a
yeah,
lot of
this
people
this has
there.
been this has been an event that's I don't know. They use Roman numerals, so I don't actually know how long it's been around because we're at the point where I don't know what the Roman numeral stands for. But I think it's like over 15 years or something they've had this. Maybe 10.
All
No,
right.
not 50. It's probably around 15, 10 to 15.
All right.
Um,
I can read Roman numerals, so I'll pull it up real quick
yeah, you pull it up.
and get us the correct answer real quick. That's 17. So you are correct.
17. Okay.
Over 15 years.
So yeah, it's been around for a while, and it's kind of been like a staple for IMCA. So
Yeah.
a lot of guys have ran it. I mean, Dotson has run it. Thornton's won it 3 times in a row. Ethan Thornton, Ricky Thornton Jr. Dylan Thornton's been there. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of top guys. I used to like it. It won't happen anymore. But in the past, uh, USMTS guys would show up and run it. I remember Jason Hughes running it, Terry Phillips running it. In the past, because it's always right. It was always either before or after Cedar Lake. I think it kind of varied. So they would just show up. I mean, 10,000 to win. If you got another car, might as well run it. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that obviously Cedar Lake, or not Cedar Lake, USMTS. We didn't mention they run Wednesday this week, which is during the
Oh
Clash.
yeah, we just kind of mentioned that I was going on Saturday, but they run Wednesday and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday for that. And
Yeah,
then they're actually somewhere on Tuesday too, but
are
anyway.
they?
But yeah, they're at Casino on Tuesday, next
Oh,
Tuesday.
oh, next Tuesday. Okay,
Next
I
Tuesday.
thought you
Yeah,
meant
yeah.
like. Okay, gotcha.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
but yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Clash, and they changed the format, which we talked about. And I also learned they run a non-qualifier too. I don't know if I
Okay.
mentioned that last time. It's like 24 cars that don't make it for $1,000. So
That's
that's a
starting to
nice.
become a thing more, and I
Yeah,
like
I've
it.
noticed
I
that.
like it. Yeah. That's
Um,
definitely a nice touch.
then after the Clash, I don't go anywhere Thursday, unless for some reason it rains at the Clash. Then Thursday is a rain date. Hopefully, it's not needed. Then Friday, supposed to be at Luxembourg, and they have their big special from Sunday. They just moved to Friday, so it's like
Okay.
1,500 for mods, 1,000 for sport mods, 1,000 for stock cards.
Come on. And they
But yeah,
let's get
it's
it in.
1 to 2 inches of rain is projected on Friday, and
Ah,
I'm worried that might actually affect Saturday for me. I'm supposed to go to Plymouth to do the stream there. If that does affect Saturday, I was telling you earlier, I might go to Cedar Lake Saturday if Plymouth rains out early enough.
oh man, I hope so. I mean, I hope you come there if it rains out. I don't hope it
Yeah,
rains out because I
I also
don't
don't want
want
it to
that
rain.
for the tracks out there. But I hope if they rain out that you do make it out there because that'd be pretty cool. That would be awesome. I mean, I already told you I was bringing a bit of a crew, so it'd be nice
Oh,
to have you jump in.
I want to mention too that at the Clash, for the sport mods and stock cars, it's 1,000 to win each day. They're doing a full show, so
Yeah.
um, that's part of the reason too. I guess it's only 1,000,
Yeah.
but it's at least it's not like $500 or something that they're running for.
That's
Um,
solid money.
yeah. And then Sunday, I'm going to my first ever Summer Nationals or Hell Tour. I always call it Hell Tour show. at Sycamore Speedway. I went there once last year for the Dirt Kings races, and it was really cool. I mean, it's like Illinois Bull Ring. They're running right
Yeah.
on the cushion. So I'm looking forward to the Hell Tour because they get, I mean, Fager and stuff will all be there. They weren't there when I went
Oh,
last year, so
I think this first week's,
the
well, I don't
first
know
the
if that counts as the first week though, but
it
the
I
first week's
count it
gonna
as
be
the
pretty
first week.
loaded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I count it. Yeah, the first week always seems to be because that's like when Fairbury's in there, I believe. I mean,
Yep.
Fairbury will probably get like 50 late models. Um, if 30 of them can stick around for Sunday, I would be very happy. Um, and with the Outlaws off too, like I wouldn't be shocked to see Dennis Erb or Shirley show up. I know Dennis Erb's supposed to run a few of them, or maybe all of them. But then, yeah, there's guys, you just get random guys that run the whole thing from like down to like one year, like a couple years, we had Ashton Winger running it. Troutman
Yeah.
ran it a couple years, I think
Yeah.
last
I
year or two
think,
years ago.
yeah, I saw Winger making on Facebook making vague references to running Summer Part or all of the L
Yeah,
Tour again this year, and
I
I
saw
think
that.
I think Hunt the Front's going to be there, and I definitely saw a few other big guys
I
too
saw
for at least the first week.
I
So,
saw Kyle Bronson and Trey Mills are coming
you
up.
know,
So
Bronson
yeah,
might could run the whole thing.
it wouldn't shock me. Turbo obviously is most likely going to run the whole thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, we we'll get some big names. Hopefully, I'm just hoping all those guys come up because I wouldn't blame them for leaving after Saturday and heading back
yeah,
home. But I
yeah.
would love if they stayed one more day at Sycamore. And
Well, if any
speaking
of
of,
them hear
and
it,
they got street stocks as a sport class, and then they also have like side by sides racing. They have like two side by side classes, the turbo and I don't remember the other one. But
okay.
so last year when I went, they had ATVs racing and dirt bikes, and the track it's like it goes on the starts on the front stretch, and then like halfway through one and two, they cut into the infield, and then they go through the infield like a little turn, and then their
Hmm.
victory lane's like a little hill, like a little dirt hill. They use it as a jump, so they jump through victory lane and then come back out in between three and four, and that's like their track.
Okay.
But that would count as a new track for me per the track chaser rules, because it has to be adults. They have to have like a cage. So like ATVs wouldn't count, but side by sides would. So I wasn't planning on getting a new track, but I'll add it. I think that'd be number 57 for me. So
So, so when you saw it last year with the ATVs and the dirt bikes, didn't count
didn't count.
because was
They
it
didn't
because it was children or because they didn't have roll cages?
the roll cages because there was
Okay.
adults. So the children
Okay.
thing, so like say you go to a midget race and there's every driver there is below 18, that would
Of all the
count.
classes.
Well, that's because
Okay.
there's a lot of kids that run midgets.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would count because adults are allowed to run it. But if you go to
Yeah.
like a junior sprint race where it's got to be like 13 and under,
Okay. Then it wouldn't count.
because adults are not allowed to run. Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if it's just kids there. There has to be adults. Adults have to be allowed to run with
Okay.
them. But
And
that
they have
won't
to have
matter.
a roll cage.
They have to have a roll cage. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you get to watch side by sides go over jumps, and that counts as a new racetrack. Even though you're at a racetrack you've already been at.
Yeah, I've already seen it technically. Maybe they changed the layout since last year too. Who knows?
Yeah. So you just get like so like on your track tracer bio, it's like Sycamore, and then it's just like
It would be Sycamore
Sycamore
like
off-road.
off-road. Yeah.
Okay.
For like the asphalt tracks, 'cause asphalt tracks have a lot of like multiple tracks in one. So like it'll be like outer oval and then like inner oval. So inner oval would typically be like the quarter mile track and something. But it'll probably be like off-road track or something. I'm not sure how they'll list that. But it should count. From my understanding of the
All
rules, it should
right.
count.
All
So
right. Right. I like checking me out a new track, but I don't know that if I've been there and then I just see someone do something. Anyway, I'm just giving you mostly crap, but it just feels like you're going to Sycamore.
yeah,
You're
so
counting it as a new one
to be
anyway.
fair, I used to count by facilities, but ever since I hit 50 and was able to join the group, it would have been too confusing. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna count like count by their rules versus like kind of how I was doing it. Because yeah, usually I would just count like it by facility essentially. So like um what like Mississippi Thunder, they have like an infield track, don't they? or they did at one point.
I think
Like
they
that,
did at one
yeah,
point.
that
Like
would have,
Ogilvy does. Ogilvy
yeah,
does. Yeah.
Ogilvy. Like I would have in the past, I would have just counted that as one, even if I saw both run. But I was like, whatever, I'll just follow the track chaser rules. It just makes it easier. So
Yeah.
I'll just do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, but if someone was like, "Hey, Josh, are you going to Ogilvy?" I'd be like, "Yeah, but it depends on which version of the track you're seeing because I haven't seen them on that one, so I can't give you any recommendations." Like, all right, I've got my twists, and I'll leave it be at that. But I'm actually, all bullshit aside, that sounds like cool racing, so I'm excited to hear how
It
it
wasn't
goes.
actually, 'cause it wasn't actually that bad last year when they had the ATVs. I was actually filming that. It was kind of weird to film it. I've never. It was harder. It
Not
was
used to that.
hard to keep track of the leader because it's not like a race car when the wrap is super. You can find them easy. It's like, okay, what color was that guy's helmet or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't too bad of actual racing. And it's kind of like their intermission show. So instead of just sitting there watching, I mean, unless they have track prep, I guess they would kind of delay that. But if they don't need to do track prep and they're gonna have an intermission, they have side by sides to watch instead. So, because that's how they did it last year. It was literally just they just had some ATVs run for 20 minutes as an intermission. So I'd rather that than seeing absolutely nothing, I guess. So
I do agree with that. Little halftime entertainment, if
yeah,
you will.
pretty
So
much.
okay.
That's what it's like. Yeah.
Right on. Right on. Well, speaking of the Hell Tour, like obviously that's kicking off this week. They started Tuesday and I'm not sure when they stop. It feels
It's
like they just run
I
every
don't think
day.
they, yeah, I don't, they run Monday. They take Mondays off, but I think it's like Tuesday all the way to not this Sunday, but next Sunday, I think is
Oh
their
man.
next, and then I think they finally have a Monday off then. So
Okay. Yeah. So they'll be going for quite a while here. I think you and I kind of talked about it a little bit. I think our approach is just to talk about the cool stuff we see and we'll acknowledge that it happens, but I don't want to be running down a week's worth of
it's,
results and schedules every freaking episode. That feels terrible. So I'm excited for you to go to Sycamore and see them. Hopefully 30 do stick around and be sure to be sure to pay attention during the side by sides. I want to. I'm excited to hear how this racing goes down. So, right on. Um, Other than that, though, on the late model side of things, in addition to the Hell Tour, so Lucas is also running in Smoky Mountain.
oh, yep.
Uh, yeah. So or at, not in. Like maybe it's both. Anyway,
I,
at Smoky Mountain.
I
I don't know if it's
actually,
in the Smoky Mountains.
I knew they were running this weekend, but I learned where they were running this weekend from a TikTok of Devin Moran. So on the roof of his car, he had the race advertised. Because I think
Okay.
his car owner owns
Yeah,
that. Yeah. So
he does. Yep.
I was
Yep.
like, oh, that's where they are this weekend. I learned from
Yep.
a video of Moran at Eldora with the advertisement. So it worked.
It worked. It definitely worked. So yeah, they're uh they're at Smoky Mountain for 10 and then 30,000 on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see the car counts for that. It's all the Lucas regulars, RTJ and JD will be battling up front with Huddy and Dalton Wilson and all the rest. So like, not much for us to add. You know what I mean? Maybe Josh Rice will be there and steal the win, but that seems like maybe far fetched. A little far for him usually to
Probably,
travel.
I'm sure a couple outlaw guys will probably show up. If I had to guess, the ones that aren't at the Hell Tour and whatnot. So
Some of the more southern based ones
yeah.
definitely may for a while, for sure. Um, but yeah, it'll be a good show. I'm sure I'll catch highlights of it and we'll talk about it in next week. But not a ton of analysis to add. We're in the mid season. A lot of these things, you know what I mean? Like we've seen them. All the storylines are developing, and now we're just kind of following along and mentioning the cool stuff that happens. So. And then I should mention, so up by me, the XR Northern Storm starts this week as well. Uh and I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
Yep.
then they have a like a fifth race 2 weeks later. So anyway, I guess schedule Thursday Proctor, Friday Gondik, Saturday Grand Rapids. Uh nope. And then yep, okay. And
Or
then Hibbing is the next
yeah,
day.
yeah, Hibbing Sunday. Yeah.
Yep, Hibbing Sunday, and then ABC on a Saturday,
Nope,
July 3rd.
that's a Thursday.
Is that a Thursday?
I only know that
Okay.
because Luxembourg races that day, because
Okay.
Friday's on the 4th. So
Right on. I just assumed it was a Saturday. Shame on me. But anyway, Thursday, July 3rd at ABC. I think late models, Midwest mods, and modifieds are all have a points fund attached to that. And then I believe it's 500 to win each show for the Midwest mods, 750 for mods and 1500 for late models. And then the ABC show has like a little bit of a boosted payout for the mods and Midwest mods. I think it's like 1,000 for Midwest and 2,000 for mods. So anyway, a lot of the Wasota guys have run this in the past. They kind of switched it up this year. So different tracks, different locales. So maybe a different group of guys that are running it, but we'll see what happens. Maybe some cool stuff will come out of that. But anyway, I think that's everything we wanted to touch on, Carter, which
yeah,
means it's time for
the one for the road, and mine is Park Jefferson in South Dakota. They have the RTI Nationals, and it's 5,000 to win for the. This is on Sunday, this Sunday, for the it's 5,000 for the stock cars, and then IMCA late models, mods, and what am I missing? Sport mods are all a
sport mods
thousand, and hobby stocks. Everything's a
and hobby
thousand.
stocks,
Everything's a
except for
thousand.
sports complex.
Sport compacts only 500.
Only 500.
Um,
But
and then at Brit, I assume that Friday, it's they have 2,000 win for stock cars, and so two bigger stock car shows going on. 5,000 especially on Sunday is should
yeah,
draw a good amount of cars. So
yeah. That one at Brit has an interesting name. It's called the Hobo Hustle Stock Car Shootout. So they were the ones that had the Hobo 100K nickel a couple of weeks ago. So I guess Brit's got a real hobo problem. No, I think they're using it for reverence. I read a couple times the meaning of all that. So I apologize, I can't recall off the top of my head, but they do own it. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. So when you were saying that, it got me thinking. You could pretty much just go 141 for 1,000, Brit, and then over
so
to Park Jefferson.
I'm sure you could
Yeah.
find something else too. Maybe like a
Oh
1,000 to
yeah.
win show or something.
Something to do on a Saturday in between. Yeah. Motown or something. I don't know. I don't know a map that well, but anyway,
Uh,
if you race stock cars for big money, you can find a place to be.
yeah, you could find a place to be.
Yep, yep. So right on. That's pretty cool. Well, my one for the road touches on yours a little bit, but we'll get there in a second. So what I mean by yours in a little bit is the one you had last week. But we'll get there in a second. So I just kind of want to shout out the Tri-State late models ran 2 shows this weekend in South Dakota. And at Brown County Speedway, they had 50 late models in attendance. 50.
Thought it was 52.
Maybe they added a couple more. I last I looked was 50, and I was
I
like,
just
"That's what."
I just
So
remember you
52 is even better.
I remember you mentioned it, then I went and looked, and I
Okay.
thought for some reason I thought it was 52. But either way,
Okay.
50 is a ton of
Is
late.
a ton, an absolute ton. And they had guys from as far as like Nebraska, and I think maybe a Wisconsin guy or two. I can't recall. But anyway, they just had a lot of people there from all over in that general tri-state area, which I think that is I think tri-state their logo is Minnesota, South Dakota, and Iowa. I think is where they're. But
Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
you're looking
I
at me
know
weird.
of them, but
I'm
I don't
pretty
know
sure that's
I don't know
so
their
that.
schedule.
Yeah, so I don't either. I know their logo, and I'm trying to just hoping maybe you recall it. But anyway, I think it's those 3 states, so that's hence the tri-state. So they're in that area, but they had 50, and then they had 42 on Saturday at Dakota State Fair Speedway. So on Friday, Thomas Weisengram at Brown County won 2,500, and then on Saturday at the Dakota State Fair Speedway, Chad Becker won $5,000. So they're running for solid money, and they had huge car count. So that's kind of neat.
It is Iowa, by the way.
Okay,
I
I thought
confirmed.
so.
Iowa, Minnesota, and South Dakota.
Yep, but well, another interesting note about that show at the Dakota State Fairs was that Cole Searing was back racing already a week later, and doing well, I might add. He finished 5th in that race, so he's backing towards the front already. So that was kind of neat to see.
That's good to hear. Yeah, because that was unfortunate last week when he had to miss some of the Challenge Series races, but looks like he
Yeah.
should be back. So
Should be back. In fact, one might say he already is. So that's pretty. I mean, uh,
I
uh,
wonder if he'll be at Cedar Lake for 10
that
grand
is
or
such a
12
truck
grand.
for him. But yeah, he might be. That's a good call. We'll see. Coming off injury, I don't know. That's a long drive for him. I remember running when he was running the Challenge Series. I'd seen on social media uh, or maybe it was an interview or something with. But it was just it's a tough one, to go clear
Yeah,
across Minnesota because he's in Huron, so I believe the Dakota State Fair is like his home track or very
gotcha.
close to him. Yeah. So,
I just know those
um,
Wasota guys like to travel. I so many times I'll see like some guy from Wisconsin's in like Wyoming. It's like, oh, all right, just
yeah.
for like points purposes or something.
Yeah.
Only track they could find.
The only track they could find. I don't know if they like it, but if you're running for national points, sometimes
Do
you
what you got to
gotta do
do.
what you gotta do, man. But yeah, so but that's a good call. I hadn't thought if he'd be there. It'll be neat if he is. I know there's gonna be a lot of guys, so but more than welcome to come join the party. A lot of money up top. So, but anyway, I've belabored it enough. I think that's everything, Carter. We managed to get through it. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us again. And if you're still here, I say it every time, but if you're still here, absolutely drop a comment or hit a like or something, share it with a friend. Any little bit of that really does help us. So we much appreciate it. But anyway, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for hanging out.
See ya.